And hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the ACHA Power Play here on 12 Ounce Sports and the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Our season finale, season 8. Can you believe that? Already in the books. It's been one heck of a season. We've had some great shows throughout the year and some great excitement with the culminating with the 2024 ACHA National Tournament down in St. Louis. We crowned 4 new champions, and we've got 1 repeat champion. That repeat champion, of course, Sioux College in women's Division II. But on the women's Division I side, we've got a brand new champion, and that, of course, is the Adrian Bulldogs. And we are excited to be joined now by the head coach of the women's Division I national champion, Adrian Bulldogs, the head coach, Carter Clarke. Carter, thanks for joining us tonight. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first question I got to ask you, has it sunk in yet?
Yeah, a little bit. It's been interesting last couple of weeks getting everything ready, trying to, get all the work that comes with winning, get that accomplished and get stuff ready to go. We've trying to get the rings finalized here and all that kind of stuff. Try and get, our normal stuff, exit interviews are a little bit more happier than they typically are. And everybody had a good smile on their face, but it's definitely sunk in. We started prepping for next year. We've had a couple skates with the girls just to, have some fun and where they're taking the ice out tomorrow actually at our rink. So we skated yesterday just to have some fun and get back on the ice. And it's tough. Like last time this group will ever be a team, we're graduating a couple girls. So we want to make sure that we, end the year. We ended the year on the right note, obviously in the season, but we want to, it's tough to let go of that, but we got to start prepping for next year.
Well, when I had you on the show earlier in the year, I believe it was right about before the conference tournament was getting set, the CCWHA, and that was no easy task there. I guess my question to you, Carter, is did that kind of help you get ready for the national tournament down in St. Louis?
Yeah, for sure. We played a good Lake Superior State team first and foremost. Like it was an interesting spot for us to be in. A little bit of adversity, which I liked, challenging our group. But we're used to being the 1 seed. We'd won the league the last 6 years in a row going into that tournament, wanted to make it 7, and we weren't the 1 seed. And so we didn't get the bye. We had to play in a quarterfinal game. Played that game, played well, won 3-1 against Lake State. Next up, we wanted a little bit of revenge against Dearborn. They beat us in January. We played really well and kind of smacked them at home and wanted to make sure that we, set the record straight that we were going to, beat them again at playoffs. And we did that. Like, I think it was again 3-1 and, we knew it was going to be an Indiana Tech in the finals. It's been that way the last 3 years and not a great start to that game. Went down 2-0.
Frozen a little bit here.
I remember feeling pretty good. After, halfway through the game, we kind of turned the tide around and I knew we were just going to need kind of a weird bounce or maybe something to just go our way and give us a little bit of momentum. And we kind of got one of those weird angled shots that went in and made it 2-1 and we kind of got the momentum and then made it 2-2. And then it took a little while, took a couple overtimes, but ultimately, I felt like we were in a pretty good spot after we got that initial bounce.
All I could think about when I think about somebody that goes 4 or 5 overtimes is John Cooper from Tampa when they played Toronto. I don't know how many years ago it was. And the first question was, were you relieved? And he said, yeah, my feet were cold from staying on the ice for 5 overtimes.
Yeah.
Cold after 3 overtimes?
Yeah. That rink in Flint is freezing. One of the coldest rinks I've ever been in. And and you're playing, you don't notice it, right? You're sweating. Right. But when you're coaching, it sucks sometimes. Like you're in a suit, it's not very thick. Like I remember I called timeout. We had power play in overtime. I called timeout and my legs were shaking because I was so cold. And I was trying, I hope the girls that were didn't think I was nervous or anything, but I was just freezing. My hands were cold, but trying to get right down on the whiteboard. But yeah, it was cold. So that was definitely a relief to get out of there. But it's funny, as soon as that puck went in and National Stitt scored the overtime winner, I wasn't cold anymore. Like it just went away, right? As soon as that feeling goes away.
Boy, winning cures a lot of evils, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Like that, eh? So you guys made the trip, or you gals made the trip down to St. Louis, and started on Tuesday, I believe it was, or Wednesday. Wednesday, yep. And unfortunately or fortunately, you had to play. You didn't get one of the 2 byes, so you started out with an Arizona State team, and it's crazy, Carter. You started out. I don't want to say you started out slow. Looking back on it, or hindsight, their goaltender was amazing, so she kept Arizona State in. But what seemed to me the theme with you guys, getting goals in either the first minute and a half or the last minute and a half, or last minute of a period. And I think that second goal you got against Arizona State kind of broke their will a little bit.
Yeah. We're, we build a lot. Like, the way we play our forecheck and our style of play, like we really wear teams down. Like you mentioned, not having the 2 byes, I was actually okay with the spot that we were in.
Yeah.
Being the 3 seed, I was like, hey, like we're going to come in, we had, 9 new faces on our roster, never played in a national tournament. I was like, hey, we're going to go play Arizona State. It's a new team, which I liked. I liked that we weren't playing a team that we, it wasn't like we were playing a team that we had already beaten and we kind of had that arrogance. Like, it was Arizona State. We don't really know, what we're going to expect. We did a lot of video, had ourselves in a good spot. And obviously we didn't start great. Like, I would agree with you. Our first 30 minutes of that game was probably our worst 30 minutes of the entire weekend. But, we built momentum, built a couple shifts together. I think you just scored, like you said, scored early or late in that period, and then came out in the third period and just we found our game right away. And I was like, that's good to see. And ultimately, that's what I was like okay with not having the bye. I was like, we'll play this game. If we win, we get the day off. And then we go into the quarterfinals, kind of in the same boat as everybody else. And now, if you have that quarterfinals and you don't play well, you catch a team that's coming off a win. Maybe they have a little bit of momentum, and maybe you're down a goal or two and you don't really know what's going on. Like Liberty had a little bit of a slow start against Arizona State, in their quarterfinal, and Midland was kind of neck and neck with Indiana Tech as well in their quarterfinal matchup. So it's a tough tournament. I think, the cards obviously played out right for us, and I was okay with kind of how our map was laid out for us.
Well, you mentioned how you kept the momentum, and you went into that quarterfinal game against Dearborn, and obviously Allison Shaw getting the natural hat trick kind of set the stage for you. But you got your gals jumped out to that big lead, and I guess what impresses me is you didn't. I don't know how to say this the right way. It was 8-0 after the second period, but you didn't really let up. And I was impressed how they kept the focus. I know there was a couple instances where you could have lost it, but you didn't. And I think that's a tribute to your team.
Yeah. Obviously, I'll touch on the first part of Allison Shaw. Had a great game. So kind of a cool story. It was, she played really inspired that day. Her neighbor back home is Steve Ott. He's a former NHLer, is the assistant coach for the St. Louis Blues. So he was in attendance with her parents that night. So a little bit of motivation, I think, for her, like having her neighbor there. So he was there, and she played great. We played great as a team. Like that was a great game for us. And it was a game that I'm like, okay, I feel like we have some really good, kind of swagger and mojo kind of going forward. And yeah, like as far as the not letting up and not letting the game get away from us and just kind of packing it in, like, obviously it's tough to stay engaged up 8-0, but a big message was, this next period is how we're going to, roll it over into tomorrow. Like, obviously we weren't going to give up 9 goals in a period and lose. But we also wanted to play the right way and make sure that our habits stayed well. we kept doing the right things, and we could just translate right over into the semifinal game and keep playing our game. And obviously we gave up a goal, and I had an opportunity to kind of rest Chloe a little bit and get Jordan, our backup goalie, get her in and let her see a couple shots and have that experience. That was great as well. And it was really good for us as a team, obviously scoring 8 goals. Like it's going to sound obvious that it was really good for us, but getting lots of people some confidence, getting some points on the score sheet, making some plays, and really just dominating and kind of dictating really, like that game was a real turning point for us as we kind of made our run.
You and I had a chance to talk down in St. Louis a few times, and going into your game against Midland, one of the things that I don't want to say it surprised me, but the mental aspect of how you dominated Midland, I thought mentally, you scored a couple of goals, and it was just, you could, or even when you scored the first goal, you could see their shoulders kind of sag and their heads go down. But when you scored that opening goal, the second period, I believe it was 17 seconds in or whatever.
Like 16 or 17 seconds.
Yeah, that, again, I'm fascinated by that. You took them out of their game mentally. And that to me is a huge compliment. That was what really impressed me the most about that game against Midland.
Yeah. That was a game, a lot of underlying stories there. A lot of, we played them early last year, even though we hadn't played. We had some connections and some ties to that team. Mm-hmm. Knew some girls on that team, knew some, some of their staff pretty well. And when we really just like, more or less, we didn't want our season to end to them. Like if we weren't going to win the national championship, our season just couldn't end to Midland. One that we were really inspired and we had nothing to lose. And I think the adversity we faced during the year was huge for us going into that game. Midland 29 or 27-0-2, I think was their regular season. 29-1-2 was their record coming into nationals. Only lost one game to Liberty in their conference finals. Like, yeah. I'm not going to say they didn't face a lot of adversity, but they didn't have a lot of losses. They didn't have a lot of teams come in and really play them like we did. And I liked that. I liked that our cards were close to our chest and they haven't played us. And I actually saw, Ryan Miner in the tunnels there as we were walking out after the first period. And he goes, I saw, he's like, I was watching on the way here. And I hope I'm not throwing Ryan under the bus here, but he's like, I was watching on the way here and I was just like, Midland looks slow and Midland looks like they're not really, playing that well. And he's like, I got here and I was just like, Adrian's just all over him. Like it was kind of the other thing. And so I like that we kind of had that element of surprise and we have so much depth to our forwards. We have so much depth to our D in the way that we play. It really just kind of took them by surprise and we had them down early. We were able to kind of, knock them down. Obviously they had a little bit of a comeback there and it, ultimately, we were in a similar situation last year in the semifinals. Like it's a tough scenario for me to still talk about. Like we were up 4-1, ended up losing 5-4 in overtime, some penalties. And we don't win that game, that semifinal game unless we kind of go through that adversity last year. They gave up 2 kind of quick goals. They had a little bit of momentum. It's 4-3. They had traveled really well. Like the building was kind of, buzzing a little bit. Like fans were loud. And I don't know what it was. There was something going on with Chloe's equipment. So I didn't have to burn a timeout. I was able to get all the girls to just look at me and I got them to just, it's like, guys, we're in a great spot. We're up 1-0 with 4 minutes to go. Or I think it was 5 or 6 minutes to go. Maybe at that point we scored the empty netter with like 3. Yeah. So I got him to look at me and just calm down. Let's just take a breath, get back to our game. Like, stuff happens. Like we got a couple of weird bounces, but like we're in control. You've built yourself a good lead. Like let's just get it done. And so, thankfully Chloe's equipment went out in that situation. I got a chance to calm them down and we ended up finishing it off and getting the empty netter. And it was really a big boost for us.
Well, it sure was. And obviously propelled you into the championship game. Now, you play a team like Minot in the final, and they're coming off just an emotional win over Liberty, a double overtime win. You and I joked, you were hoping maybe it would go like 5, but how do you prepare for a team that's, they're going to be playing on emotion to begin because they've got all that momentum from that game-winning goal? How do you prepare any different for a team coming in with that emotional lift?
Not necessarily. Like, obviously they went to overtime against Michigan. Like their run was kind of magical. Like, like definitely would have been, had that game gone the other way, like that would be some story. Like they scored with 1 second left in the first round to go to overtime, and then they scored in overtime. Overtime against McKendree. We were watching that game before our Dearborn game. And then the Liberty game, like Haley Beaver, I was in the stands for most of it. I watched the second overtime back at the hotel just because I knew whoever won, I would have to start pre-scouting them pretty right away. So I saved the time driving back. But, they had a lot of emotion, but at the same time, like I knew they had to be gassed, right? Like they had played almost an extra game in just overtimes. So the game plan was have a good start and kind of get ahead early and give them no life. And we came out flat. We came out timid, which, we had never played in a national championship game before. Like that's something new for us. And something when you work so hard and your whole year is built up to it, like it can be intimidating and it can be nerve wracking. And we got Macy and Tess, like made a play. They made an unreal play on a 2-on-1 for, we've done 2-on-1s every practice all year, and I've never seen them make that play. So amazing. For them to do that and do that on the biggest stage was something awesome. That was a great feeling. Tides kind of turned a little bit in the second period. They caught some momentum, had a nice goal on the power play, a great tip in. And then we kind of, last couple minutes of the game, last couple minutes of the second, we got it back to going how we wanted to. Got some pucks deep, established our forecheck, thought we were going to really pop one, but we didn't. And, had a good heart-to-heart conversation, in between the second and third, and came out firing, and it ultimately was what we needed.
Again, Macy Pache had a great goal in the third period. We've talked already about how you guys strike in the first minute or the last minute. You did it again with Tyler Turnbull getting the goal. My question to you is, I've asked every coach, what was your first feeling when it was zeros? Was it relief or was it jubilation?
Yeah, it was kind of jubilation, I would say, when it was zeros. It was definitely a relief. Like Tyler came out, or we came out, and we scored first shift. And I was like, okay, I think we're in a good spot. Like I knew, Midland, or sorry, not Midland, Minot would, if they were going to beat us, it was probably going to be 2-1. Maybe 3-2 if they, we gave up a lot, but I knew that they were really defensively solid. I knew that they didn't give up much, and I knew that Haley was going to make a lot of saves and play pretty well. So I knew with our team, we didn't give up a ton either. Like I figured if we were going to lose, it'd be a game where Haley stole it and they kind of beat us 2-1. So when we got that second goal, I felt good. It was one cycle through the lines again, and we got Macy and Tess and Tyler back out there, and Macy just took over and did what she does and made a nice play and got the goalie to go down and went bar down for an unreal goal. And then to get the empty netter, that was really the icing on the cake. Like I felt pretty good when it was 3-1. And ultimately, we had a good spot, but as soon as it hit zeros, it was kind of, it was nice to get the celebration out of the way and then watch the girls, when the clock actually hit zero, watch them celebrate and celebrate what they earned.
So now you're on top of the mountain. And one of the things that what is nice about Adrian College, and I've noticed this with Gary's team, and how the community and the college embraces you and has really helped in the celebration of your national championship. It's just, I love seeing that from afar. And it's going to make you feel pretty good coaching in a community like that.
Yeah, for sure. We've got fans that, are at every game. They've got fans that support us. We have great support from our men's teams. We have great support from other teams in the community. We really are really fortunate. We've got off the bus with the trophy when we got back, and there was a welcoming party there. Sending the girls, clapping as all the girls walked in. And so that was really cool. It's something that, we talked about. I talked about with the girls, like I said, in that conversation we had after the second intermission. I talked about them about all the people that were counting on us, and not to put more pressure on them, but just all these people that are believing in you and supporting you. They're counting on you to get it done. They're not counting on you to go out here and just, lose by one or, not play our game. Like, what do you have to lose? You got all these people in your corner. Go out, win a period, and you're going to win a national championship, and all these people supporting you, you're going to prove them right. So let's make sure we do it the right way. And so that was something that definitely uplifted us throughout our run. So
what's your summer going to be like, Carter?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting here. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get rings and stuff ordered here in the next couple of days. We got the designs finalized, so that's a cool moment for the girls. They're going to get that at the start of next year. So we're some recruiting, a little bit of time to relax, but August comes before you know it. So looking forward to it. We've got a lot of big pieces that were part of that team and part of our run coming back. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot, and we really are going to have to work hard and hopefully put ourselves in the same scenario next year.
Well, I know this is kind of a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. I'll bet you it doesn't feel so bad being the hunted, know that you're on top, right? Instead of the hunted.
It feels pretty good. It's something we've experienced a little bit, and something we talked about a ton this year, especially within our league. We're really hunted within our league, just having won the last 6 or 7 years. Like, that frustrates people. Now, we talked about it actually after. I was like, everybody's going to want to beat us, right? Everybody's going to give us our best game. And that's something that we struggled with at times, was just showing up to the rink and not playing well, and thinking that we were just going to win because of, we had a higher ranking or had beaten this team in the past. And so, definitely going to be something that we talk about, before big games, and before we definitely need, to make sure it's aware that everybody's going to give us the best game. Everybody wants to beat the national champ. So it's a blessing and a curse for sure.
Well, Carter, congratulations on your championship run, your first championship. I know it's something that obviously everybody shoots for, and there's only one person that's happy at the end of the year, and it gets to be you now. Yeah. As you're the champions with the Division I Women's Division I National Championship. Again, congratulations. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight and being a part of our season finale. And again, look forward to catching up with you in the fall as you start your defense of your ACHA Women's D1 National Championship.
Appreciate you having me on. Thank you, sir.
All right. Carter Clarke, the head coach of the Adrian Bulldogs Women's Division I National Champions. A great run for the Lady Bulldogs as they join their counterparts on the men's side in D1. I believe it's the first time since 2010 that the Division I men's and women's both come from the same college, but they both dominated. And I'm going to pat myself on the back. Before the national championship broadcast started, we made our predictions, and I had Adrian going all the way. Some may call it an upset since Liberty was going for their 6th straight national championship. But like I said, what really impressed me, and as I mentioned with Coach Clarke, is the mental aspect. They were ready from the word go, and they mentally dominated the teams. We brought up the point with Midland. I think they had one regular season loss or regulation time loss. Not used to being behind. A lot of times when you see the really good teams and when they get behind, how do they react? And that was a turning point there. A lot of turning points in that tournament. Such a wild tournament. And we'll talk about that here coming up. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to just take a quick review of the national tournament for all 5 divisions. And we got a special treat too. We've got a look back at all the play calls of the 5 national championships, the ending calls, something we do every year here on the ACHA Power Play. You're watching the ACHA Power Play. It's live right here on 12 Ounce Sports and the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Don't go anywhere.
Do you need tickets? We have you covered. We have soccer from anywhere in the world. Any venue from any sports. That means we have college and professional football. We have baseball at every level. We have every Power 5 matchup. Remember, costumes and paints are optional. You want to see Broadway? We have them too. We have every concert from every artist. We have you covered at tickets.12ouncesports.com. Tickets for less.
Yes, indeed, we've got you covered at tickets.12ouncesports.com. All the latest that's going on in the world of sports. We've got NHL playoff tickets on the horizon with the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs starting just around the corner. About a week left of the regular season with the Red Wings, our Detroit Red Wings here in the Michigan area, knee-deep in the fight for that last playoff spot with a couple of huge games this week and, of course, next weekend. So make sure you check out tickets.12ouncesports.com. Major League Baseball kicking into high gear now with the regular season underway, the NBA playoffs, you name it. We are your source. That is tickets.12ouncesports.com. Welcome back again, everybody, to the ACHA Power Play. Again, thank you to Carter Clarke, the head coach of the Adrian Bulldogs Women's Division I national champions. It's their first national championship, dethroning the 5-time defending national champion Liberty Flames as they went for their 6th straight, as they were the number 1 seed in the Women's Division I, as Midland was the number 2 seed, Adrian, the 3 seed. They made their way with their opening win of the national tournament over 10-seed Arizona State. Then they took on Michigan Dearborn in the quarterfinal and beat them convincingly 8-1. And then in the semifinals, we mentioned against number 2 Midland, they jumped out to a 2-0 lead and never looked back, winning that one to set up the championship game against the Minot State Lady Beavers, and they won that one by the score of 4-1. They were all tied up after 2 periods of play, but as Adrian did throughout the tournament, striking quickly, 35 seconds in, and then with Tyler Turnbull with her 3rd goal, and then Macy Pache with their 4th goal of the tournament at 4:10, pretty much icing it right there. Then they got the empty net goal to make it a 4-1 victory, and again, not the empty net, but making it a 4-1 win, and they are the national champions. Hard to believe. It is their first time. They've knocked on the door quite a few times. Such a powerhouse program right up there with the likes of Midland and Liberty and Minot State. So there you go. The Adrian Women Bulldogs are the 2024 ACHA Women's Division I National Championships. One heck of a national tournament at St. Louis. I'll tell you, it was a lot of fun being a part of the national tournament. Again, all the games were on Flow Hockey TV. And, the 5 divisions, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast, 4 new champions in the ACHA. The only one that is the repeat, of course, is Sioux College, as they won in Women's Division II with a convincing win, 3-0 over Assiniboine. A brand new Men's Division I champion. We talked about it, the Adrian Bulldogs, their 3rd championship in 6 years with a win over UNLV. 3-0 was the final there. One heck of a game there. It was in men's D2, an epic overtime game. 5-4 was the championship for the Indiana Hoosiers, their first national championship, and their first time in the Nationals, I think, in almost 50 years or something like that. So congratulations to the Hoosiers, their first national championship. And then in men's Division III, Lawrence Tech with their first national championship. We talked about that. A big win over in-state rival Grand Valley as the Michigan Collegiate Hockey Conference reigns supreme again with the national championship season or with the men's Division III national championship, as I believe that's the 13th out of the last 14 years now, or 14th out of 15, some crazy number like that. But the state of Michigan is the ACHA Kings of the Mountain now with 3 of the 5 national championships, and then Sioux College just right over the border of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and in Indiana. So the Midwest, they're the kings and queens of ACHA hockey for the 2024 national championships. So again, a lot of fun, a lot of great games, a lot of double overtime games, overtime finishes. Just it seems like it's that way every year. 82 teams take part in this tournament over, this year over an 11-day span. I believe next year they're going to stretch it out over to 13 days. It's going to be in St. Louis again next year in 2025. But again, a lot of great games. And it's such a great spectacle. The ACHA and the St. Louis Hockey Commission, the St. Louis Blues with, their endorsement as well. The Centene Ice Center, just a tremendous host. It's a great location right in the center of the United States. And it's fun for me to be a small part of it, to meet with the coaches and with the fans and with the players and to see the genuine excitement and everything. It's just, I tried to soak in every championship game just to watch the emotion, watch the jubilation, and, the sorrow of the losing teams. It's tough for them. The finality of it sets in as well, all the hard work, but so many great games. We talked about Minot State's women's team, winning in double overtime. Liberty playing in 2 overtime games back to back with their goaltenders, just throwing 70 shots a game at these goaltenders and only scoring 4 times, going up against 2 amazingly hot goaltenders. We know Liberty's going to be back. So that's in the women's D1. In D2, again, can Sioux College make it 3 straight next year? They've got a powerhouse going up there. Can anybody stop them in women's Division II? D1, the Adrian Bulldogs, they're a young team coming back. Obviously, they're going to have a target on their back. Again, you've got UNLV, who's going to be good coming back. You've got just a plethora of teams. Again, you've got Liberty, you've got Ohio, you've got Central Oklahoma, mainstays in the national tournament scene every year. It's so many different teams that are going to be chasing, upstart teams like Purdue Northwest, Oswego State making noise, teams like that, Pitt. It's crazy how many of these teams. Jamestown will be back. That's the beauty of the tournament. You've got the upstarts, then you've got the mainstays all getting together in that single elimination tournament. Then you look at men's D2, and you've got, we mentioned it, Indiana national champions. So many great teams. Florida Gulf Coast will be back, I'm sure. Just to name, 1 or 2 of them. Lindenwood will be back. Liberty again there. Great to see Army there. It's just with that pool play setup that they have, and then the semifinals, a lot of drama. And of course, the D3 side, we mentioned it. Michigan, the state of Michigan, the D3 capital right now, again this year, with the likes of Lawrence Tech. They're going to be the hunted now. You've got Grand Valley. Hope next year, this will be their last year in men's Division III. Then they're going to make the big jump to D1. So they're going to be back. I just know it. Michigan State, Missouri, Arkansas, you name it. And then more of the East Coast teams, Sacred Heart, Colby College, just to name a few. I know I'm missing a lot of teams, but that's it's all going to be a part next year in 2025. And it'll be our 9th season bringing you the ACHA Power Play once it starts back up in September. One of the things we like to do when we got a few moments now is to thank everybody. It starts right up at top with, Craig Barnett. I want to have a special thanks to him for inviting me to be a part of the broadcast at the national level. And, he and Dave Kurtz just, again, right at the top, Dave, the executive director, just really, Craig Barnett, you name it. Rush Schlegel, Andy Storrs, the public address announcer, all the way, Ed DiGiacomo, the head of the referees. I mean, the list goes on and on. All the commissioners at all the levels, Derek Connor, Molly Mahoney, so many names. I know I'm missing quite a few, and I wish I probably should have wrote all these down. But, it's just everybody really taking part in helping make this possible. And I want to thank all the guests that have come on the show here in season 8. All the coaches that take time out of their busy schedules. I can name all the coaches. I think I've had 40 of them on this year. And our goal next year is to get at least three coaches for each show. And it is such a joy to talk to them. And I'm very humbled by that, because they give me an opportunity to, they give me the access to kind of know what's going on with their programs, and to watch the ACHA keep growing every year and being a very, very small part of that, to me, is something that I can't say enough thank yous to. And I just want to thank all the commissioners, again, all the coaches, all the players, down at the national tournament, for letting me bug them to talk to them, get, kind of get a gauge on how they're thinking during the games and after the games, and the coaches, that are so gracious with their time. I can't say enough about that. Throughout the year, me calling them a couple of days beforehand, hey, can you squeeze in 10 minutes? Can you squeeze in 15 minutes? And it's very gracious, and they're very gracious, and I'm very humbled, and I want to say thank you so much to all of them for letting me be a small part of their year as well. 2024-25 is going to be a fantastic year in the ACHA. It really is. It's we're going to have, the showcases going on beforehand, and they're going to have new conferences starting up, teams going up to D1, teams going up in different classes. It's so much in store. It's going to be a fun ride to the Nationals in 2025 in St. Louis. Everybody's going to reconvene there in March of 2025. The road to St. Louis will start in September, and we're going to be right there with you. So again, join us for season 9 of the ACHA Power Play and the road to St. Louis for the 2025 National Championships. All right, we're going to close here tonight. Thought we'd do something interesting. We kind of do this every year with the National Championships come to a close. What we'd like to do is give you the final seconds of each of the championship games down in St. Louis. As again, it's so much fun to be a part of it, being able to be on the broadcast. I want to thank my broadcast partners that I work with very closely down in St. Louis. Devin, Sarah, Reagan Cleaves, they did a wonderful job. And of course, my tag team partner throughout the 11 days, Peyton Turnage, for, we had so much fun. And I want to thank Rasty McGibbon. Check out our or check out achahockey.org, or check out the ACHA Hockey YouTube channel and the 5-minute major shows with Rasty McGibbon hosting, all the commissioners. He had one of the best ones was probably Taylor Hadley, the commissioner of women's D2. He was gracious enough to have me on there a few times previewing some of the championships. And it was so much fun to be with Rasty. He does a whale of a job. Special thanks to him as well. So, all right, this is what we like to do, as we mentioned. Let's take a listen now. Let's take a look back at the excitement of the 2024 ACHA National Championships with a listen to all the national calls. Let's start out on the women's side with the women's D1 National Championships.
For stick with 30 seconds. On into the zone, Eagleson. Wide of Beavers net. The Minot Miracle. Boy, what a performance for the Beavers. It's going to fall just short for the Adrian College Bulldogs. They'll take it back in their own end. 15 seconds. The countdown on now. Turned on back in their own end by Miranda. 10 seconds. It's a clean sweep of Division I for the Bulldogs. But today, It's the women of Adrian who have claimed their first ACHA Women's Division I National Championship.
That, of course, Peyton Turnage on the call. That one, my tag team partner, as we mentioned, the women's Adrian Bulldogs national champions. Now let's take a listen as Sioux College, the only back-to-back national champions.
Penalty is over. Lando chased back after it. The net is empty as it's played over on the far side. 32 seconds left. You can taste it now if you're Sioux College. Puck played around the boards. Played over now on the near side. Puck tipped around. LaCour tried to come up with it. They'll play it in behind the goal. 18 seconds left. They're on their feet now on the bench. Puck played over now on the near side. 10 seconds to go. Puck lifted out to the neutral zone. This one in behind the goal. 5 seconds to go. Can you say back to back? You can if you're Sioux College, as they are now the back-to-back 2024 ACHA Women's Division II National Champions.
Indeed, a dominant performance, yours truly on the call. That one, Sioux College with a 3-0 win over Assiniboine. Let's go back to Peyton Turnage. He had the call on the men's side for the Division III National Championships.
Cleared and broken up at center from Walsh. Dundas will bring it back into the high slot. 25 seconds, he lost the handle. Driven back in by Jensen, wide of the Lawrence Tech net. It's still free with Jens trying to clear it. He'll get it on the backhand, down ice, down to 16 seconds. Masters will play it. Far side at center, slapped back in on the glove, and back into Grand Valley control. And for the first time in ACHA Nationals history, the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils are Division III national champions.
Indeed, they were. A great call by Peyton Turnage. And Lawrence Tech, their first national championship, joined in the ranks of the other Michigan schools that have helped dominate men's Division III as they got their national championship. Now let's take a listen to Devin Sarah, who had probably the exciting call of the year, well, of the national championships, as this was the only one to go into extra session.
Again, a shot from Semino evaded. They'll drop it off. Be patient with it. DiLorenzo across the way. One-touch pass, looking for the right look on the right circle. Once again, they cycle it up top, trying to diamond this one in. From the right side, a chance! Kinzinger, stop! On the goal line! Another putback! Clapper! Score! Score! Indiana! The national championship! DiLorenzo!
Indeed, it was Devin Sarah on the call of that one, as Indiana with the big win over Miami in overtime, as they claim their first national championship. And then the men's Division I, it was Adrian College looking for their third national championship in 6 years.
Fought for it, and the Rebels try to hold it in. They do, out on top. There goes Del Monte. 25 seconds, tipped wide, puck loose, shot deflected into the slot, tipped around, and now it's going to be cleared down, and that's going to do it! DeGilio will ice the game for the Bulldogs. The empty net goal, Mateo DeGilio makes it 3-0, and it's time for the Bulldogs to start celebrating. Face-off won by the Bulldogs. 10 seconds left. Just the countdown now. 5 seconds left. And these dogs can still hunt. The Adrian Bulldogs are your 2024 ACHA National Champions.
Indeed, they were. So, and again, an exciting week and a half down at St. Louis, the 2024 ACHA National Championships. Congratulations to all the winners. Adrian College on the men's and women's D1 side, Sioux College on the women's D2 side, Indiana on the men's D2 side, and, of course, Lawrence Tech on the men's D3 side. All right, everybody. That's going to be a wrap on Season 8 of the ACHA Power Play. This has been an absolute treat, as I mentioned. I can't say it enough how humbled I am and how this has been such a great run. We're going to take a summer hiatus, and we'll be back right after Labor Day with Season 9 of the ACHA Power Play. it all starts back up. Puck drop for a lot of the teams will be all the middle of September. Practice starts before Labor Day. So that means that we'll be right back with all the action of all that. We will get all the standings, the rankings, you name it. We'll get the coaches back on. We'll get some players again this year, administrators. And again, it's going to be a lot of fun. One more time, I want to thank Craig Barnett, the executive director. And I also want to thank Dave Kurtz, the director of hockey operations, for allowing us to do this every year with them and their graciousness, their time to come on the show and, again, be a part of helping us make this possible to you. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us for Season 8 of the ACHA Power Play. Until September and Season 9, this is Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Thanks for joining us here on 12 Ounce Sports for the ACHA Power Play. Again, we'll be back for Season 9 coming up in September. Until then, so long.